Hello, and welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, Special Assistant to the Mayor for Community, Culture, and Belonging.
And I'm Andy Anam, the Communications Director for the city.
And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together.
Today we are going to talk about building healthy neighborhoods. And you need to introduce our guest today because we want to learn more about it from them.
Yes, I did not. When I first heard this terminology of healthy neighborhoods, I didn't know what it meant, but I've gotten an opportunity to have some conversations with different individuals, and it's a must-have conversation because these healthy neighborhoods are needed. So, this week's guest is Brianne Connelly, Historic Central Neighborhood Core Team member, and Liz Last, the Executive Director of Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods. Hey, Brianne. Hey, Liz. How are you doing?
Hi, Timber.
Hello, good. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for making time to talk to the Appleton Engaged listeners. Can you please tell us a little something about yourself and your association with Appleton and the Fox Cities region? Brianne, let's start with you.
Sure. So, yes, my name is Brianne. I live right downtown in the historic central neighborhood, which is the boundaries would be Wisconsin to the north, Richmond to the west, Packard to the south, and then the railroad tracks. And I grew up most of my life in Oshkosh, moved away right after high school, came back here right before COVID, moved to Appleton, my husband, and I have 2 kids. So, yeah, that's about me.
All right.
And I'm Liz. As you said, I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods Incorporated organization, which is a nonprofit that we'll talk about today. But I have been lifelong resident of the Fox Valley region. I actually graduated from UW Oshkosh. I've been working at Oshkosh Nonprofits for over 20 years and happy to be here talking about neighborhoods today.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here today, Brianne. You know I'm super Kosh, and Liz, you know I'm super Titan.
Right.
Okay, so let's get ready to jump in. Can you please tell us about your resource or organization, or maybe the one you want to build?
Yeah, so I'll kick it off. So the resource I'm affiliated with here in Appleton is our neighborhood group. So we have, actually in Appleton, I believe there's 21 registered neighborhoods. Our neighborhood, the Historic Central Neighborhood, is, I don't know if it's the largest in number of residences. It might be. We have 1,280 residences in our neighborhood, which is pretty big. But we are definitely a quite engaged neighborhood, and I think it has been before I lived here. So for a long time, at least 10, 15 years, it's been pretty engaged. But over time, doing neighborhood organizing and neighborhood work in my neighborhood, I've kind of found some struggles doing that. And so over the years, I found out about a really cool organization in Oshkosh called Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods that I'm excited to talk about today and hopefully get a few other people excited about and see if we could maybe get something like that happening here in Appleton.
So Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods, also known as Greater Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods Incorporated, has been in existence for about 9 years. So we'll probably be doing some big 10-year anniversary celebration next year. But our organization exists to develop and support neighborhood associations in the city of Oshkosh. And we currently have 26 recognized neighborhood associations that we currently serve. Each of those 26 groups have core team members that take on a variety of roles, from communication, social media, tracking volunteer hours, hosting meetings, organizing meetings and events, and anyone who is interested in working with us and accessing some of the resources and opportunities that we can provide, we are happy to work with them.
What does that look like? What does it look like to have an engaged neighborhood? What are some of the things that happen in these neighborhoods? And maybe what are some of the resources that it provides?
Well, I guess I'll share what stuck out to me as, whoa, I need to look into this, because here I am trying to hustle and do neighborhood organizing here in Appleton and hitting some walls. And, I'm from Oshkosh, so I was there driving downtown corner of Maine and New York, and on this, what otherwise would have been a raggedy electric box, because I know I grew up there. It was not a pretty corner when I was growing up. I'm seeing it wrapped in this black film with these like bright colored lettering on it that says Midtown Oshkosh. And I was like, what is this? This is cool. This is really cool. There's a sense of place here. I see pride here. And so, found out down the trail that I went down that's what part of what it looks like, right? And that's what part of Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods does. It helps create identity. So that's one part. Liz, I'm sure there's more you want to share.
Sure. So in addition to some of that public art that we work with neighborhood groups on, we do like the utility box wrapping. We also help them with their brand development. So we actually work with them on creating a logo for their neighborhood that they can use on their Facebook page. They can use it on t-shirts. They can use it on signage. We also work with the city to order street sign toppers. So on some of the notable streets in their neighborhood, like busier corners or, more traveled streets, you might see street sign toppers that say Historic Jackson Neighborhood Association or Congress Field Neighborhood Association. So those are some of the services that we provide. In addition to brand development, we also help them with some event planning. We provide resources for community building and engagement. So each neighborhood association is actually eligible for $1,000 per year, and they can actually spend that money to bring people together, whether it be a block party or an annual meeting or some sort of fun event or a fundraiser that they're trying to get people together and create opportunities for them to meet one another. We also work with the city to waive the cost of street closures and barricades for block parties. And our organization actually has something that we call a block party trailer. So it's literally a party in a box on wheels that we can either deliver or someone from the neighborhood can pick up, and you open it up and it is a party in a box. So we have picnic tables, we have shade tents, we have movie projectors, we have a screen, we have a bubble machine, a sound system, microphones.
That is a party in a box.
It's pretty amazing. So that's something that we actually loan out to neighborhood groups free of charge, and the city doesn't charge for the block parties or the barricades. So we encourage people to do that every year. And if they want to spend some of their community building and engagement dollars on food or entertainment, that's something that it could be pretty cost effective or free for that neighborhood group to organize.
And if I could just also jump in and say, so, the neighborhood identity signage, the block parties, these are like the flashy things that you see, and the things that probably our brains, when we think of the term neighborhood association or neighborhood development, that's what we think of. But one thing that also Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods does that I think is just necessary, really, if we want to have these great parties and this great signage, is that they also help you literally create a neighborhood association from ground up. So, my neighborhood that I joined here, Historic Central, that was organized by some neighbors with the help of a woman named Julie Philippek, who works her program is called Neighborhood Partners through NeighborWorks Green Bay. And so she assisted, but it was neighbors that just kind of came together and cobbled together what is now the core team. But there's some challenges with that. First of all, I am the newsletter editor for our neighborhood group, and I probably will be until I die, because we have no real structured bylaws. We don't have term limits. We don't have, and I've had other neighbors come to me and say, Brianne, could we do this in our neighborhood? And I don't care. I make the newsletter, but there's not known, understood system of like leadership or way to come in and way to come out, right? I don't want to be doing this newsletter forever. So there are systems that could be in place that we just haven't had the time, energy, or resources to make it so it's more easy for citizens in our neighborhood to get engaged and feel like they should be getting engaged. But in Oshkosh, if someone wants to create a neighborhood association where there isn't one, Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods will send out a physical mailing to hundreds of houses around that person and set up a meeting here this day, this time. If you're interested, come to this meeting. And my understanding, Liz, is by the end of the meeting, if this is something that's desired by those community members, then by the end of the meeting, the boundaries, the physical boundaries are roughly determined, and their core team of a handful of members is also determined by the time they leave that. We don't have anything like that in Appleton. I'm a pretty aggressive person, so like I would try to make it happen no matter what. But your average person, even if they want this kind of neighborhood connection, they want that fun block party trailer, they want that signage, how do we do it?
Those organizing meetings are really, really helpful for just creating a template for what can be done in a very short amount of time. Those meetings are typically done in about an hour, and it's amazing that they can come up with a neighborhood name, boundaries, core team. We usually review a mission and a vision for that neighborhood. We take all of that information and we submit it to city council members. The city council actually votes in support of that group, and once they are recognized by city council, they have access to a wealth of resources, like the community building and engagement dollars that we provide, the block party trailer, access to waive fees for the block parties. We also offer a variety of grants for curb appeal. So if people want to invest in their own property and they live in a recognized neighborhood association in Oshkosh, we can help them offset the cost of some of those exterior home repair projects. We can link them to other resources like Habitat's Rock the Block program to bring in hundreds of volunteers to do a ton of work in a very short amount of time. There's a lot of collaboration happening in Oshkosh, and that's something that I've been really, really proud of that could be replicated in other areas like Appleton.
So my question is to Liz. I am hearing that it's a very streamlined system, and I don't think it was done in a year or two. So what's the history of this organization and how you were able to streamline these operations?
That's a great question. I can't take credit for all of the work. I've been in this position for only a few short months. I have been working in collaboration with Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods as a Habitat for Humanity employee for just over 6 years. So I think that collaboration is key. And I feel like this was not done by one person. This was done by a variety of entities. So we actually have board members now that were founding board members 9 years ago. People from neighborhoods, people from our local community foundation, and people that really believed in creating opportunities for connection and for a sense of belonging and providing resources to people in neighborhoods. And I think that collaboration has really helped pave the way for what's happening now and what's yet to come.
So, Brianne, what I really hear is that there's a huge opportunity here in Appleton to create an organization that focuses on this, like Healthy Neighborhoods in Oshkosh.
That's music to my ears. Yes, that's what I hear too. I hear it.
So, I mean, because it sounds like they have an organization in place that's doing this, and we might need an organization in place so we can do it as well or replicate some of the things that they're doing in Oshkosh.
Well, here's the thing. We do, to assume that amazing things, even connection between people, to assume that comes from nowhere, sure, maybe sometimes, but most of the time it takes organizing. It takes work. It takes systems. It takes processes. We don't think about that a lot. We think about the block party trailer that rolled up, or we think about the cool sign, but there's a lot of work on the back end that has to go into that. And if it's not invested in, then what do? Just sit there and cross our fingers and hope that happens? And we know our community wants that to happen. We know that, health industries are looking at how do we decrease social isolation. We know that so many nonprofits are even just starting to address mental health. There's neighborhood connection is a solution to those things and so many other things. Citizen engagement, what Liz was talking about, blighted property improvement. There's so many solutions that can come from just connecting with the community nearby you. So yes, it takes a lot of, it will take a lot of work. It's not going to happen come out of nowhere.
So, what are some of the challenges you're facing in Appleton, and is there a way that Oshkosh can help them mimic the model? What kind of collaboration can go in those areas?
Well, yeah, if you don't mind, I'll share my story, kind of a story that kind of paints the picture of the challenges I've seen. So like I said, for our neighborhood group, I am the newsletter editor. But for a period of time, I worked for Neighborhood Partners and I was contracted. So I got paid a little bit to work like 5 hours a week. So it was really awesome because my job there was what I call micro-organizing. So, we have big community events, but the micro-organizing is how do you connect people in smaller pockets? So based on proximity, like just around your block, or based on interests, like book lovers or dog walkers. How do we get those folks together? And so like I said, I'm a little aggressive, a little excitable. So I kind of pushed it a little bit further. And I knew that, the city had some money for neighborhoods. And so I came knocking on the door. How can we get some money? We want some money. We could do a lot of things with it. And so I started having conversations with the city at that point. My first conversation was, how do we get neighborhood identity markers? And I just tabulated this out. I won't go into details, but I spent a total of about 14 hours back and forth with multiple city folks trying to find my options were, okay, those street sign toppers, that didn't go anywhere. A big sign on a corner somewhere, that couldn't go anywhere. Wrapping electrical boxes like they do in Oshkosh, maybe that could go somewhere, but it's like a process that I didn't have the time and energy to do at that time. And then lastly, like on Wisconsin, they have the light poles where you can do the little banners or flags. So that was, a path we couldn't go down. So about 14 hours of time trying to get this happening and 0 neighborhood identity markers to show for it. So this is one struggle that I think we don't have these systems set in place to even think, neighborhoods might want to have neighborhood identity markers. And how can we make that accessible? There's so many options, right? But none of them were easy to do. The next thing I wanted to do was a block party. And I tabulated that out. 29.5 hours spent trying to get 5 block parties in my neighborhood last summer. And I only achieved 2 of them. And that was way more of a struggle than I expected it to be. And I will never do another block party with the systems that exist as they are. I ended up having to rent my own blockades. I ended up having to rent a U-Haul and go get the blockades and set them up and take them down. And not to mention, I had to get the signatures of every single person on the blocks that I went to try to get these block parties blocked off. And, I was met with 2 separate people who said flat out to my face, no, I'm not going to sign this. And one person that, in conversation just kind of shared similar sentiments of not wanting this type of thing in the front of their yard or whatever. So it was interesting. It was, a good experience to talk to neighbors in that way, but it was your average person who's just trying to volunteer and connect with their community. No way they're going to do this. The other thing is, and I think in Timber, we've talked about this, but I think something like deeper rooted that can come from this type of organizing and these types of systems and processes being in place is that, so an example in our community, we had neighbors that lived around a house that was really blighted. Squatters were staying there, tarps on the roof, landlord not around, and the neighbors had communicated to the proper channels to try to get this solved, and it just wasn't getting solved. Or it was getting solved in the way that the process exists, which is, okay, we'll put up a sign that says $30 fine because you didn't mow your yard. And then the owner would probably pay it, and then they'd come back with another $30. And it just wasn't resolving the problem for these families that were living around this house. And so those neighbors contacted our neighborhood group and said, hey, we've been trying to contact these channels. We're not getting any response. Can we as an organized group, this entity, help push this this matter to where it gets resolved? When we got a new playground at Columbus Elementary School, I couldn't show up at the city council meeting and say, give us $80,000. It'd be fun to have a playground. I had to bring 15, 20 people with me. So there's importance in having organized people, right? Organized groups. Think about historically any type of social movement that exists. It's because there's organized people that have spent time organizing to achieve their goals. Again, it doesn't come out of nowhere. And so I witnessed a lot of challenges in trying to do what I thought were very basic, simple things as someone engaged in my neighborhood. So that's my story. I also, moved recently back to this area from about 10 years in the Mississippi Delta, living in very rural communities where there were very little loopholes to jump through if you wanted to do anything cool in your community. And then a few years living in Boston, where I was part of our neighborhood council, which was not even just a neighborhood association, but we would, as a neighborhood council, we would vote on things that the city council would then approve or disapprove. We would send them our opinions before they voted on it. And so I think also I came directly from communities where it was not challenging to create community identity, to have positive things moving from citizens to the broader community, and I have found it a challenge here.
So now, Maita, I will ask you to share a story that will help listeners understand the importance of the resource and possibly take care of the challenges too.
Sure. So just to kind of continue what Brianne was saying about some of that communication and that collective voice that a neighborhood can actually create and the power that that can have. One of the collaborative partners that we work with so well in Oshkosh is the Parks Department. So if a new playground is being installed in a park and it's a neighborhood park, the Parks Director will actually reach out to families in that area and actually have displayed renderings of what their playground could look like. And sometimes they even have the children that are going to be using that playground vote on what it will look like and what sort of features it will have. So that's something that I've seen firsthand. I've seen some of those neighborhood meetings where kids were actually able to put a Post-it note on whichever rendering they're interested in playing on. So I can't emphasize that enough, what Brianne was saying about that collective voice and that power of multiple people kind of coming together and working towards a common goal. And if it's something as simple as just what is the playground going to look like, what are some of the park upgrades that need to happen, I think having that voice is really important. And just this last month, I invited Brianne to come down to Oshkosh and actually attend one of our Neighborhood Alliance meetings. And that's something that I think is really crucial to our organization too, that there are representatives from each of our 26 recognized associations in Oshkosh that actually meet monthly. So they are coming together once a month to share resources. We usually have a guest speaker talking about a really important resource that they can then take back to their neighborhood and share with other people. And it gives them an opportunity to talk about what they're doing. That can inspire other groups and other neighborhoods to try new things at some of their events, maybe try a fundraiser, try to invest in their neighborhood in different ways. So I just think, the stories are endless and the connections and the collaborations are endless. I just think that it's so important to get people together and just share that information.
Well, what I hear is there's a really cool organization in Oshkosh that channels and helps to organize and partner with the city. And we might be missing that piece here in Appleton. So we might need a Healthy Neighborhoods Appleton. Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so. There are many models available to create what we're calling healthy neighborhoods or engaged neighborhoods or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they're right down the street. They're willing to help us. I don't know, sounds pretty low lift in the scope of lift, So yeah.
Well, there's a model.
Yeah,
there's a neighbor nearby with a model that maybe we can engage our residents into and say, okay, we don't have to build this from scratch. Here's a great model and what it can look like. Because sometimes that's really the thing. We need to know what it looks like at the end to get people to engage in the beginning.
And good neighbors share good things with each other.
Facts. Okay. Well, are there any upcoming initiatives, events, or engagement opportunities?
Well, in Oshkosh, we have a variety of annual events. We just hosted a spring rally, which is sort of a mini conference of neighborhoods. So we bring people together for a keynote presentation, breakout sessions, all neighborhood focused. We hosted our second annual this year in April, so we'll have that again next year, April 2023. We are also hosting a fall Heroes event. It's called Celebrating Oshkosh Neighborhood Heroes, where we actually invite people from neighborhood associations to nominate amazing people that they live near, whether it be an adult volunteer, a youth hero, community support person, or a business that we can publicly recognize and celebrate in a night of fun. Live music, food, entertainment, games, activities. That's something that we're really looking forward to in November. And then another two that we celebrate each summer are National Night Out. That's something that we work with the City of Oshkosh Police Department to engage neighborhoods in feeling safe in their community and connecting with their community resource officers. And National Good Neighbor Day is also in September. So that's something that we like to celebrate and encourage people to pledge to be a good neighbor for XYZ reasons. So that's something that we'll have a public campaign on, and we're really excited about that.
I want to circle back to something that was mentioned earlier and flush it out just a little bit more, and that was about some of the grants that are offered.
Sure.
What does that look like? How does that work?
Sure.
What are they for?
So our nonprofit actually has two. The first one being community building and engagement dollars. So that's $1,000 per neighborhood per year. And it's specifically for community building and engagement. So whether that be an annual meeting, a block party, a fundraiser, something that will bring people together in their neighborhood. Sometimes that is spent on food. Sometimes it's spent on entertainment for a meeting or an event. It could be used to purchase supplies for a fundraiser or just a community event. I'll give you an example. One of our most active neighborhood associations, River East, actually purchases lumber and hardware, and they build birdhouses every year in May. And they have an annual birdhouse painting event where they invite the community to come meet them, learn about their neighborhood association, and all of the children paint birdhouses. They can give them to mom for Mother's Day, or they can save them for another special person in their life for a gift, or just put them in their yard. So that's a really amazing thing that they do. Another grant that we offer is the Curb Appeal Grant. So we call it a Good Neighbor Grant, and it's actually a $750 reimbursement. So if they choose to update the front-facing side of their home, whether that be through landscaping, painting, gutters, windows, if the project is, let's just say $1,000, we just ask that they put in an initial $250, and then we reimburse up to $750. So a $1,000 project could only cost them $250. Now, some of those projects are very expensive, and they end up being $10,000 projects. The max reimbursement is still $750. But in the history of that grant program for the last 4 years, the Oshkosh residents who have taken advantage of this program have actually invested over $500,000 in their home improvement projects. We have contributed over $190,000 toward that $500,000 investment. So that's something that I'm really proud of too. And one other grant opportunity, I call it a grant, but it's more of a program through the city. And it's something that we connect neighborhoods to. It's called the Great Neighborhoods Program. It doesn't necessarily have a specific dollar amount, but if it's something that neighborhoods want to improve in their community, if it's a public space or a green space or a park, and they have an idea or a proposal for a project that's maybe outside of the city's comprehensive parks plan, or it's just something that has not been considered for the next few years, neighborhoods can actually propose an idea. And one project that was recently approved through this Great Neighborhoods program with the city is something very similar to the Marigold Mile. So when I was coming down here today, I was coming down Oneida Street, and I know that they're not up yet, probably because of the weather or the timing. But in the summertime, when you're coming down Oneida Street and you see all the marigolds planted in the terraces, there's actually a neighborhood in Oshkosh that loves that idea and that concept, and they're actually planting marigolds all up and down the terraces of several blocks in their neighborhood. The neighborhood is called Quarry Park, and they decided to name that stretch of marigolds that they're planting in Oshkosh the Quarry Park Gold. So imitation is the highest form of flattery, so kudos to Appleton for doing the Marigold Mile. People are trying to replicate that and just make their neighborhood more beautiful and have, a sense of place and and something that's unique and identifiable to that specific neighborhood. Other projects could be, different parks improvements that the Parks Department may not have considered, but it's something that the neighborhood needs.
Is there anything the community can do to be helpful? And I know you can really, contribute tons to it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I see a path where organized people in the city of Appleton can replicate or be mentored by Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods. I am actively trying to make that happen. And so, we're years behind, right? So it's not going to look exactly the same. And maybe it just starts with the handful of neighborhoods around downtown. It could look different, but if anyone listening to this podcast, cares about neighborhood development, cares about addressing issues around social isolation, cares about citizen engagement, then I would love for you to connect with me. Timber has given me some really good advice over the last handful of times that we've met. And, really in Appleton, this is a stage of getting the word out, helping people understand we don't know what we don't know. And so here's now something we do know. And so let's understand it a little bit better. Let's see if there's benefits in it. And if anyone else or any organization or any group of people or organizations is interested in seeing neighborhood development, neighborhood association development thrive in this community, then connect with me. My contact info will be in the show notes. So definitely. And then I also would like to, just on behalf of the Historic Central neighborhood, I would love to invite listeners to attend a couple events that are coming up in our neighborhood. One, sadly, Columbus Elementary School is closing as an elementary school. At the end of the school year, there's going to be a Columbus commemoration ceremony. That's Thursday, May 29th, 5 to 7. Community welcome and encouraged to come. There'll be tours of the building and slideshows and that sort of thing. Past staff will be there. It'll be neat. And then a big event that our neighborhood hosts every summer that people from all over the city come to is our Porch Fest. So it's about 11 different musicians on porches all around Columbus Elementary School, and we have food trucks at Columbus, and that is Tuesday, August 26th, and that will be 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. So yeah, reach out to me if you're interested in moving an effort to model something in Appleton after Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods, and otherwise, please enjoy the Historic Central neighborhood and come hang out with us as well.
Well, you did a great transition. So now I'm just going to go ahead and ask, who can people contact? How can people contact?
Well, so if you're interested in, what I'm interested in, having momentum for this effort, then please contact me, Brianne Connelly, b.connelly26@gmail.com. It'll be in the show notes. If you want to connect with our neighborhood, we have Historic Central Neighborhood Appleton Facebook. We have Historic Central Neighborhood Appleton.com is our website. And then our email is hcnappleton@gmail.com.
All right. And Liz, for those who are thinking, okay, I would like to learn more about what it looks like once it's done, what do you have for us? How can people contact you?
I would encourage people to visit our website, which is gohni.org, so Greater Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods Incorporated.org, gohni.org. They can email me directly at lizlast@gohni.org. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You can call our office. You can visit our office. We're on the second floor of the U.S. Bank Building, downtown Oshkosh. We welcome any and all questions, and we are happy to help in this process with building something similar or replicating this in Appleton.
Are there any other things you would like to share with the Appleton Engaged listeners that maybe we didn't ask a question about today?
I just want to give a big thank you to you guys for having this, bubble to the top of something we can listen to. I want to really recognize there's a lot of people and energy and organizations that have come before. There's a lot of organizations, I know groups of churches are working on. There's a lot of people talking about neighborhood development right now. And so I certainly know I'm not alone in this effort. I mean, I have the other folks right in my neighborhood that care about it deeply just like I do. So yeah, I just want to make sure that recognizing all the effort and all the energy that's behind this type of community engagement. I'm very appreciative of it, and I know it's making our community better. It's the change that we want to see.
And I would just encourage anyone in any capacity, if they want to get involved in a program like this. Neighborhood associations are vastly different than homeowner associations. This is something that's completely voluntary. If your neighbors come together and they want to establish a recognized group, this is not something that you're forced to be a part of, but it is something that will create opportunities for people to feel more safe, feel more connected, have more access to resources. So if you are interested in any capacity, I would reach out to Brianne or myself and just ask to learn a little bit more. And if you have the capacity to sponsor any of these programs or any of the resources that an organization like ours can provide, and also if something like this is created in Appleton, Brianne will need a board. So if you would like to serve in any capacity on a board of directors to help move this forward, I would encourage you to reach out to Brianne too.
Now is the shout out time. So who do you want to send your shout out to?
Well, I will shout out a bunch of people in my hood. So the other core team members in the Historic Central Neighborhood, Appleton, Zion Lutheran Church does a lot to assist our community. The school district, Appleton Area School District, contributes a lot. We have some local businesses that have sponsored our newsletter, The Building for Kids, Wilmer's, Chocolates, Chain Reaction Cyclery, Dalla Terra Pasta, Hello Honey Floral, a new business in our neighborhood, and really all the other businesses and organizations. Tom's in our neighborhood, Hmong Express, they host us a lot. 10th Frame hosts us a lot. Frio hosts us a lot for our mingles. So we have you got to come. You got to come check out Historic Central Neighborhood. We got a lot of cool stuff there. So big shout out to all of my neighborhood.
And I just want to say hi to the entire Oshkosh community, all of our collaborative partners at the City of Oshkosh, all of our funders and major supporters. And I cannot forget to mention the Nonprofit Leadership Institute, because this is a program and a journey that I recently started, and I just want to say hi and thank them for their support and their encouragement of nonprofit leadership in the community. And I can't wait to see what I learn throughout the next year in that program.
Okay. Brianne, Liz, here at Appleton Engaged, we just want to say thank you. Appleton Engaged listeners, at this time, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Thank you for spending time with us and giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for caring about another amazing opportunity, another resource in our community, helping to make it a better place. We are better together. There is no doubt about that. As you all know, we have our own mission here at Appleton Engage, and that is this. We are trying to become the #1 podcast in Northeast Wisconsin, and we need your help to do that. What does that help look like? Well, as you come up with concepts and ideas that you would like to see on the podcast, let us know. If you would like to be a guest, or maybe you'd like to recommend a guest, you should let us know. And how do you let us know? Well, you can email us at belonging@appletonwi.gov. Once again, that is belonging@appletonwi.gov. Then also, we think we are a stronger community when we are an informed community. And how can we become more informed? Well, this resource right here, Appleton Engage. So we want to get in front of more eyes and more ears. And the way you do that is through analytics. So how can we get better analytics? Well, while you're listening right now, take a moment, press that subscribe button. If there are stars there, give us 5 of them. And if you got a few more moments, just go ahead and fill out that review. These are all things that improve our analytics, and the better our analytics are, the more community members learn about this amazing resource known as the Appleton Engaged podcast.
Today we got to learn about 2 different approaches. One, which is with an established neighborhood program within the Fox Cities region, and the one striving hard to create one here, and there's so much passion in that. So listeners, if you're interested to create a neighborhood program, please reach out to them. Brianne can be our representative from the City of Appleton, and if you want to learn more or experience, you learn all about the events which are happening in Oshkosh, so you can go and take a look at it, and if something resonates with you, please reach out to Brianne again. So hopefully you will share this episode with all like-minded people who want to make the neighborhood better for our generations to come. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.